Hi my swooners, I hope you're having a great month, week or day and that positivity is coming your way. For this week's video, I will be doing my April hopefuls. I will be detailing 4 books that I plan to read in the month of April and why I'm interested in them and why they sound amazing and why I have to read them this month. In April, I'm participating in Realmathon, which is an amazing readathon that people are participating in all over the world. My sister introduced it to me and the moment I found out about it, I just had to join. You basically join a realm and the more books you read, the better the realm becomes, or the more protected your realm is, and you can attack other realms. I'm explaining it really poorly, but if you look at covers with Cassidy's video that I've linked in the description, you'll know more about it, and it isn't too late to sign up as well. So it is amazing and I'm really enjoying it so far, and it's really bringing out my competitive side as well. I didn't realize how competitive I could be, but turns out that you give me a realm to protect, I will read books for days. So as a part of Realmathon, I have joined the Cyrus team, which is the romance and sin realm. What do you expect from a girl whose channel is called Timeless Swoons? So I will be reading romance books as per usual, but I've also sort of expanded out and started reading romantasy as well. And I've added a lot of romantasy in my April TBR this month, I'm not gonna lie. I've not really been into the genre like romantasy. I've not really ever dived into it. I've read romance sci-fi, I've read gothic romances, but not really romantasy. And I don't know why, I just don't know why I've never dived into it. And to be completely honest, now that I've started reading some, I actually can see myself reading more in the future. I can see myself diving more into that subgenre. So here are some books that I'm planning to read in April. So before I go into details about what books I'm reading and why I want to read these books in April, a quick plea from me: if you like my content, please follow me on my Instagram, Twitter and TikTok, where I just post more bookish content and give more reviews on books as well. Just basically anything books and me you'll find on this channel, so please follow me on those channels as well. So the first book I really want to read in April is A Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. I have seen this all over TikTok and I really wanted to read it last year but didn't have the time, so I thought April is the perfect month for me to dive into romantasy, and this is the first book that I really want to read. So A Deal with the Elf King centers around a world where elves and humans have been or were fighting for a very long period until there was a treaty that was formed, and now it focuses around Lucia, who is a girl in a village where elves have come frequently and taken women to marry, and that's sort of just a thing that occurs. And Lucia never thought that she would be noticed by an elf. She thought she could just continue her life being a healer for the village and that nothing would really happen until the Elf King arrives and decides that he wants Lucia as a bride. And basically Lucia ends up going with him and realizing that everything she knew and her life is a lie, and that the kingdom needs her and she has to save this kingdom that she has now fallen in love with, including the king that she has now fallen in love with. Honestly, when I heard this book, or when I was first introduced to this book, it just screamed right up my alley. It's a romantasy and you have this girl in a predicament where she's been sort of forced to marry someone, and apparently in the description as well it describes itself as slow burn with a happy ever after and the right amount of spice. It sounds right up my alley and I'm definitely going to read it this month because I've calculated and it should give my realm a decent amount of points. So yeah, I'm definitely planning on reading it. So the second book that I'll be reading, which is also a attack book, is A Taste of A Taste of Gold and Iron by Alexandria Rowland. My sister recommended this book to me. She absolutely adored it. She read it and she fell in love, and I was like, okay, this sounds like a book for me. I definitely have to read it. And I believe Mina Reeds has also talked about this as well, and everyone's been talking about this book. It just sounds amazing and it sounds so cool. So this book focuses on Kadu, who finds himself in a situation where he has to prove his loyalty to the queen, who happens to be his sister. And to prove his loyalty to the queen, he decides that he's going to investigate a break-in with the help of his newly appointed bodyguard Evermere, who barely tolerates him. And the story goes from there as they discover a conspiracy and mystery and more, as well as a romance developing between Kadu and Evermere. This is a slow burn gay romance in a fantasy element. It's apparently amazing. It's so detailed and you really get invested in the story as well. Once I heard the plot and once my sister read it and she was raving about it, I knew that I had to read it this month and that I had to read it before any spoilers came out as well, because I can see people getting really into this book and semi-spoiling it as well. So yeah, this book sounds amazing. It sounds so good and it's right up my alley. I mean, who doesn't love a gay fantasy romance? Like, come on. It just sounds so good. And again, it just sounds really good. I mean, we have a shy hero, a cold hero as well. I just want to see how this goes, because I can just, I don't know why, I just feel like this book is going to be really good and I really need it in the month of April. So, and then a book I'm going to read for defense is The North Wind by Alexandria Warwick. This book is described as a Beauty and the Beast / Hades and Persephone retelling, and once I saw that I had to read it. I mean, Beauty and the Beast is my favorite fairy tale and I love Hades and Persephone, and I also love Greek lore, so this is just, again, right up my alley. And I have also seen that Once Upon a Book has a romantasy box, which is The North Wind. That's actually how I came to know of this book, and once I saw it I was like, well, if Once Upon a Book is saying to buy it saying that this book is good, then maybe I should give it a shot. So The North Wind is basically where there's a civilization where gods existed. They were human, you could see them, and then you have Wen, who has been used to survival. She's been by herself from a very young age. She lives in the area where they relied on the shade, which is a great barrier to protect them. But sadly, the shade is slowly disappearing, and the only way to protect this great barrier is to fulfill the prophecy, which is a mortal human has to marry the dark god who reigns over the Deadlands. And that's where the story begins. Again, this just sounds amazing. Like, I am really interested to see the lore of this and how the author's going to mix the Beauty and the Beast and Hades and Persephone story together. But mainly I'm interested in the lore and the fantasy. I mean, it sounds really interesting. You've got this world where gods truly exist and a civilization that is trying to protect itself from a dark god, but to protect themselves they need to actually, a mortal human needs to marry the dark god. It sounds just really complicated but really, really juicy, and I can just see it being very interesting, and I can see myself getting lost in this book. Again, this is a book that I've been wanting to read for a really long time. I think I've been wanting to read this book since 2022, like the beginning of 2022, but I just never got around to reading it. And again, this is the perfect month for me to read it, because for some reason I'm on a romantasy high this month, and I just really want to see how the author blends the two stories together and what happens to Ren and how this story is going to play out. And the last book that I really want to read in April is Plié by A.H. Cunningham. Now, if you are on Black Book Talk or Black book Instagram, you would have seen this book everywhere. I know I have. And this was actually on my TBR for last month, but I just did not get around to reading it. So this month I will, because it just sounds really like, it sounds spicy. You know, it sounds really spicy. It sounds like I'm going to fall in love with the hero and heroine, and I can see myself just being in love with the story. So many people have given it 5 stars. So many people have said it's amazing, and it's just built. I'm so hyped to read this book this month that I have actually booked out a day for me to just sit and read. So Plié is a BDSM black romance, and it focuses around Aisha, who owns a dance studio where she teaches kids how to dance, and she has basically just come to terms with the fact that she's never going to find a dom that can really suit her needs, and she's okay with that to a certain extent. But when her studio starts losing students and she starts turning to a particular type of work to keep the lights on, it takes an unexpected turn. Again, this book sounds really interesting. It sounds interesting, it sounds compelling, it sounds very spicy. I really do enjoy books like this where it explores a dom and submissive relationship. Overall, I've seen so many people rave about it that I just now have to read it. Like, I have to read it and I have to know what happens, because so many people have said it is amazing, and it just sounds compelling, and it sounds juicy, and it sounds spicy, and that's just something that I need. Every now and again I just need a book that is super spicy. And also, it has a trope in it that I'm not really used to. Like, I don't really read, which is single dad, or like single parent, because I always find that with single parent, if the child is annoying, I stop reading the book. If the child is frustrating and annoying, I'm like, no. It's like with single parent romances, there's literally the child is the one that ruins it, which sounds awful, but like, if the child isn't written correctly, and in the sense of, if the child acts older than the age that the author has written them, or if they are more annoying than an average child would be, or if they're a brat, then I just stop reading. I'm like, enough. Come on now. You didn't have to write the most annoying child ever. Anyway, Plié sounds amazing. I can't wait to read it. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun reading it, and I think it's going to be the spice that I need in April. Okay, that is it for my video. I hope you enjoy it. I have linked my full TBR in April, or my April hopefuls, down in the description below, and as well as the Cyrus TBR that I have created is linked down in the description below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I really hope that you join Realmathon if it sounds like something for you, even if it's not this year, possibly next year, especially if you're joining Cyrus, which is the realm that I've joined. So come on, please, if you are interested. Again, links all down in the description below. I hope you have a great week and keep swooning. Bye.